Donald Trump says his historic summit with North Korea's Kim Jong-un is a one-time shot for the leader of the secretive communist state. Speaking at the G7 summit in Canada on Saturday, the US president said his meeting with Mr. Kim in Singapore scheduled for Tuesday was a mission of peace. Although he conceded he was unsure if the talks would be successful, he said he would know within a minute if North Korea was serious about giving up its nuclear arsenal. "I really believe Kim Jong-un is going to do something positive for his people, for himself, his family." Mr. Trump added, "This is unknown territory in the truest sense. But I feel really confident. It's never been done. It's never been tested. So we are going in with a really positive spirit. He has an opportunity the likes of which I think almost, if you look into history, very few people have ever had. He can take that nation with those great people and truly make it great, so it is a one-time shot, and I think it is going to work out very well." The landmark summit between the American and North Korean leaders comes following a dramatic thawing in relations between the two nations in recent months. Mr. Trump's administration initially oversaw a heightening of rhetoric, with the president warning in August last year North Korea's nuclear threats would be met with fire and fury the like of which the world has never seen. But following diplomatic efforts between North and South Korea during the Winter Olympics in Pyeongchang in February, tensions have de-escalated on the peninsula. Donald Trump's least presidential moments so far. 20 show all Donald Trump's least presidential moments so far. 1/20th firing as Secretary of State over Twitter. The president announced on Twitter that he was appointing Mike Pompeo as Secretary of State, much to the surprise of then Secretary of State Rex Tillerson. 2/20th quoting a catchphrase from a reality TV show when discussing police brutality. While addressing the issue of black athletes not standing for the national anthem in protest of police brutality, the president made reference to his catchphrase from reality TV show The Apprentice. Reuters 3/20th calling African nations "s-hole countries ever one for diplomacy." The president reportedly referred to African nations as "s-hole countries." Asked to confirm this when meeting with Nigeria's President Buhari, Mr. Trump stated that there are some countries that are in very bad shape. Reuters 4/20th defending Russian President Vladimir Putin. Donald Trump appeared to equate U.S. foreign actions to those of Russian President Vladimir Putin, saying, "There are a lot of killers. You think our country's so innocent?" Reuters Carlos Beria 5/20th asked for people to pray for Arnold Schwarzenegger at the National Prayer Breakfast. Donald Trump couldn't help but to ask for prayers for the ratings on Arnold Schwarzenegger's show to be good. Schwarzenegger took over as host of The Apprentice, which buoyed Mr. Trump's celebrity status years ago. AFP Getty Images 6/20th hanging up on Australian PM Malcolm Turnbull. Early in his presidency, Donald Trump reportedly hung up the phone on Australian Prime Minister Malcolm Turnbull after the foreign leader angered him over refugee plans. Mr. Trump later said that it was the worst call he had had so far. Brendan Smilowski AFP Getty Images 7/20th the Muslim ban perhaps one of his most controversial policies. While acting as president, Donald Trump's travel ban targeting predominantly Muslim countries has brought him a lot of criticism. The bans were immediately protested, and judges initially blocked their implementation. The Supreme Court later sided with the administration's argument that the ban was developed out of concerns for U.S. security. Brian R. Smith Getty 8/20th praising crowd size while touring Hurricane Harvey damage after Hurricane Harvey ravaged southeastern Texas. Donald Trump paid the area a visit. While his response to the disaster in Houston was generally applauded, the president picked up some flack when he gave a speech outside Houston. He reportedly did not visit disaster zones and praised the size of the crowds there. AP 9/20 called North Korean leader Kim Jong-un Little Rocket Man during his first ever speech to the United Nations General Assembly. Donald Trump tried out a new nickname for North Korea leader Kim Jong-un, Rocket Man. He later tweaked it to be Little Rocket Man as the two feuded and threatened each other with nuclear war. During that speech, he also threatened to totally annihilate North Korea. 1020 Attacking Satacon following London Bridge terror attack. After the attack on the London Bridge, Donald Trump lashed out at London Mayor Sadiq Khan, criticizing Mr. Khan for saying there was no reason to be alarmed after the attack. Mr. Trump was taking the comments out of context, as Mr. Khan was simply saying that the police had everything under control. Getty Images 11/20 claimed presenter Mika Brzezinski was bleeding from the face. Never one not to mock his enemies. Donald Trump mocked MSNBC's Morning Joe co-host Mika Brzezinski, saying that she and co-host Joe Scarborough had approached him before his inauguration asking to join him. He noted that she was bleeding badly from a facelift at the time and that he said no. 12/20 claiming the blame for Charlottesville was on both sides. Trump refused to condemn far-right extremists involved in violence at the March for the Right protests in Charlottesville, even after the murder of counter-protester Heather Heyer. AP photo Pablo Martinez Monsiváis 13/20 retweeted cartoon of CNN being hit by a Trump train. Donald Trump retweeted a cartoon showing a Trump-branded train running over a person whose body and head were replaced by a CNN avatar. He later deleted the retweet. 1420 tweeting about slamming CNN. Donald Trump caught some flack when he tweeted a video showing him wrestling down an individual whose head had been replaced by a CNN avatar. Mr. Trump has singled CNN out in particular with his chants of fake news. 1520 firing head of the FBI, James Comey. Donald Trump's firing of former FBI Director James Comey landed him with a federal investigation into Russia's meddling in the 2016 election that has caused many a headache for the White House. The White House initially said that the decision was made after consultation from the Justice Department. Then Mr. Trump himself said that he had decided to fire him, in part because he wanted the Russia investigation Mr. Comey was conducting to stop. Getty Images 16/20 Not realizing being president would be hard. Just 3 months into his presidency, Donald Trump admitted that being president is harder than he thought it would be. Though Mr. Trump insisted on the 2016 campaign trail that doing the job would be easy for him, he admitted in an interview that living in the White House is harder than running a business empire. Reuters 17/20 accusing Obama of wiretapping him. Donald Trump accused former President Barack Obama of wiretapping him on Twitter. The Justice Department later clarified Mr. Obama had not, in fact, done so. Reuters 18/20 claiming there had been 3 million illegal votes. Donald Trump was never very happy about losing the popular vote to Hillary Clinton by 2.8 million ballots. So, he and White House Voter Fraud Commissioner Chris Kovach have claimed that anywhere between 3 and 5 million people voted illegally during the 2016 election. Conveniently, he says that all of those illegal votes went to Ms. Clinton. There is no evidence to support that level of widespread voter fraud. 1920 leaving Jews out of the Holocaust memorial statement. Just days after taking office, Donald Trump's White House issued a statement on International Holocaust Remembrance Day, but didn't mention Jews or even the word Jewish in the written statement. Getty Images 2020's anger over inauguration crowd size. Donald Trump's inauguration crowd was visibly and noticeably smaller than that of his predecessor, Barack Obama. But he really wanted to have had the largest crowd on record. So he praised it as the biggest crowd ever. Relatedly, Mr. Trump also claimed that it stopped raining in Washington at the moment he was inaugurated. It didn't. The day was very dreary. Reuters in March, Mr. Trump announced he would meet with Mr. Kim in May, only to cancel the summit last month amid dispute over the North's nuclear weapons program. On 1 June, the president announced the summit would take place on 12 June after he met senior North Korean figures at the White House. Last month, North Korea appeared to destroy 3 tunnels, as well as observation buildings and other facilities at its Punggye-ri nuclear test site.